52. It's not my age yet. It's not the number of combinations you can have at Chipotle or even the number of games my boyfriend has trumped me at Trivia Crack. It's actually the number of text messages a person receives in one day. But for some of you, that's first bell. You think you're being all coy, texting in your pockets and stuff, but when a teenager looks down at their groin and laughs, we as teachers know you're on social media. When you pair up those 52 texts with the 81 emails that most people receive in one day, not even counting the thousands of tweets or I like what you had for lunch on Instagram or happy birthday like on Facebook, we are a society craving for communication and craving for someone to pay attention to us. But my question for you is, when did the birthday post repeat and replace the birthday card? When did the almighty good morning beautiful text replace the almighty football note? For most of us, we probably have these notes at home in jars. You're cleaning your room and you're supposed to be paying attention and getting things done, and you're reading through, looking for that kid in middle school that you no longer talk to or don't see or moved away. For me, the power of the written word and the football note came through in 3rd grade. When Chris Conti sat down, took out a piece of paper, and in his best cursive, wrote me a note telling me that he was mine. He waited for Sister Linda to turn her back so he could pass it to Guy Bugman, to Tracy Taylor, to Nicole Pygon, and it made it into my hot little hands. And 32 years later, I sit here with this note. It's mine. Someone took time out of their day to tell me how important I was to them. It's not that I couldn't see it really quick in 15 seconds, or I couldn't face shot it or screenshot it and save it forever, but he took his time and folded it just so it would be mine. And 32 years later, I can still hold that note and read the cool words and kind words he sent to me. We are such a society craving people's attention that we've kind of given away to great handwriting and great written letters. The power of the written word is huge. People hold it forever. It changes their lives. And I never started to realize that until one day when I was a senior in high school. The power of the written word changed my life. We didn't have texting back then. We didn't have any social media. We had nothing. Literally, I couldn't say, hey, I know you saw my brother get charged for murder last night on the television. I know you saw him take out in handcuffs and get into the police car. I couldn't tweet that out. I couldn't throw it up on my Facebook. Instead, I had to walk into my high school at Kettering Fairmont and see 1,800 faces that didn't know what to say. They were like, oh, glad I'm not you today. They couldn't even make eye contact with me, not even the teachers. They looked down at the floor, and I just walked by, over a half a mile to my homeroom. Drudging, walking slowly. I was like, what am I gonna do? How is this gonna work? And when I walked into my homeroom, I found the most amazing 6-page yellow letter sitting on my table waiting for me. And when I picked it up, it was from my English teacher, John King. And I looked and it said, hey, you didn't do this. This is not you. This is not who you are. You're gonna go on to do great things and to change the world. You are a good person. And at that moment, my healing truly started. I started to realize that that man took time out of his day to tell me I was gonna be okay and I was gonna get through this. And with that letter, as I stand here 25 years later, I still read it when I need motivation, encouragement, or a good kick in the butt from Mr. Keene. But as I became a teacher, I thought, how could I use the power of the written word for my students? Well, my first year teaching, things started to happen. Oklahoma City bombing. We had 2 students commit suicide. We then started to watch the world fall apart as the Twin Towers started to come down. And I started to realize that we wait until something's happened tragically or we've lost somebody to tell them how we really feel. So the next day I went into class and I said, hey, get out a piece of paper, put your name up top. We are gonna tell each other what we really think about each other today. Students were like, what? What's going on? Immediately, they got out paper and they started writing things like, Olivia, I love the way you make me laugh every day. Those knock-knock jokes are the best. Hey, Cameron, way to go in basketball. You really support us well. But most of all, you always give me a high five, and I appreciate that. I watched them run around the classroom, talk to each other, and not at each other. That day when they left, I saw them differently. They were now a kinder, gentler group of people who loved and respected one another and carried that out. but I never realized how powerful those notes were until 15 years later. I went to a reunion at Kettering-Fairmont High School, and kids, literally grown adults now, started running up to me. Miss L, waving these letters. I'm like, what is going on? My friend Rob came up to me and he's like, Miss L, I took my letter to Afghanistan and I read it to remind me who I was fighting for and to remind me that when I get home, who I have looked forward to see. One of my students, Jason, he's like, Miss L, my mom sent this to me in prison and I read it all the time to remind myself that I was a good person and that at one point in my life, people truly cared about me. The power of the written word is transformational. You never know what you're going to write on a person's paper or what letter you're going to write that's going to carry for literally 32 years or how it's going to change their lives. In this world of bullying, we know technology is for cowards, but pen and paper are for warriors. That power of the written word you can use to heal, love, and to grow as an individual. But for me, it began way back in 3rd grade, but the power didn't hit me until I truly hit 40. When I turned 40, I lost my parents about 12 weeks apart from each other, both my mom and my dad. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And as I fell into depression, I thought the only thing I could do was write. Every day for a year, I committed myself to writing a thank you note to anyone. It could be a local teacher, one of my students. It could be anyone, famous, sports, anybody that was out there that made my day. And what I found is I used that as therapy to release some of the depression I was going through. But I never realized that other people were in the same boat. People started writing me thank you notes for my thank you notes. Like, who does that? President Bush does that. He wrote me a thank you note and thanked me for being a teacher and growing the next generation of students and workers. All of a sudden, I got a thank you note from Sandra Day O'Connor, thanking me again for being a teacher. She said she had an easy job on the Supreme Court compared to what we do every single day. I was shocked. Even the fudge lady in Waynesville, Ohio, thanked me for making fudge with her that day. And I began to realize as I got these notes back that we as a culture need to acknowledge one another, to take time out of our day to say, you matter. And the only way I find that is forever permanent is the written word. To be brave enough to put down how you feel about somebody, what you think at that moment, takes courage. But do you have the courage? My challenge to you is to sit down tonight and to thank someone who has made your day or your year and put it in the written word because you never know when they're going to need it.